Hey Minna Warriors, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kate and today I'm talking about how your adrenal glands are like the superhero to help support your menopause symptoms in managing mental health, so managing your stress, managing your anxiety levels. If you've not yet subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so you don't miss future episodes. And if you've ever got anything you want me to cover in a future episode, either drop it in the comments below or send me a private message if you prefer to do that. You can catch me on Instagram at KateHartleyUK and I'll be glad to add that into my rotation. So just to give you a very quick overview of perimenopause and menopause. Perimenopause can be around about 10 years. That's when your hormones are all over the shop. They're fluctuating. One day you're feeling great, one day you're feeling absolutely vile. Menopause is actually post-menopause. Your menopause lasts for one single day. So that is the day that marks 12 months without a period. And beyond that, you are post-menopausal. Hormones play a crucial role in a woman's body, not just for reproductive purposes, but just general well-being. The three main sex hormones that you're probably aware of are estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. But other hormones like DHEA from the adrenal glands, dehydroepiandrosterone, and I'm only going to say that once because it's far too complicated, also play a significant role, particularly as we're going through our perimenopausal years, because DHEA is the precursor for your sex hormones. I think a lot of us experience confusion around what's happening to our bodies. You know, during school, we understand that our reproductive hormones are there for childbirth or not, as the case may be, but we don't really look at the greater role they play as we get beyond our childbearing years, or indeed, you know, if you're forced into surgical menopause, how that's going to affect you. And when we're talking about adrenal health, that starts years back. You know, we want to be focusing, we want our young women to be understanding the importance of stress management and also lifestyle factors that are going to support their adrenal health, so that when they go through the menopause, if they're lucky enough to get to that age, then they're going to support their symptoms more effectively, rather than being thrown into this chaotic pool of crazy hormones and you don't understand what's going on and you feel awful. And do you do this? Do you do that? Do you take that? Do you take this? You know, there is so much confusion around the topic, and we're all entirely different too. But I think if you can set yourself up now for effective stress management, because it's not about removing stress. We can't. We're surrounded by stress. It's about having that resilience and that understanding that, okay, I'm feeling really stressed. How can I effectively deal with that? Rather than how a lot of us do deal with it right now is to either, fry our brains in front of the television for 3 hours while we're eating all the stuff that's not serving our adrenal health or our bodies or our health long term at all, and drinking the stuff that's not doing the same, and also our inner thought processes too. Whatever you say in your head, and the vast majority of your thoughts are negative, and that's not like pointing the finger, it's just a human tendency. You are always listening to what you're saying to yourself. So, you know, I'm a qualified psychotherapist. I've been practicing for now around about 17 years. And one of the things I find is the most powerful for all of the people that I help is helping you understand what's your inner talk? How are you talking to yourself? Because most of us are really, really mean. And when you can bring an awareness to that, it means that you can then stop it and you can change it. And it's going to be a process. It's not going to happen overnight. But when you can focus on your inner talk, like, you know, I was chatting to somebody yesterday. She hates looking at herself in the mirror. I look at her and I just see this wonderful woman. I just think she's gorgeous. She will not look at herself in the mirror in the morning. Yes, she's middle-aged. Yes, she's got a few wrinkles. You know, we all have at this stage of life. However, she has lost that connection with herself and she won't look in the mirror. Because I was joking about the fact that, you know, I need the magnifying mirror now to actually even put a mascara on or, you know, if I'm trying to do my eyebrows or whatever it might be, I need the magnifying mirror because my eyes are no good these days. And she said, I won't even look at the mirror. Just don't even go there. It's just, I found that so, it really impacted me. It made me feel incredibly emotional because she's living with herself for the rest of her life, technically not loving what she sees in the mirror. And that's not an external thing, that's coming from inside. And we can learn to love ourselves and be really proud of ourselves from the inside out. And it is about being your own best ally, because at the end of the day, as much as you might have a fabulous support system, we can only do the best for ourselves. We can't rely on other people to do the best for us. We have to be our own proponents, and that includes talking kindly to yourself and becoming your best friend. And one thing I would say to you is, you know, if you are one of those people that literally avoids looking in the mirror in the morning because you don't want to see what's in there, I challenge you to start to do it and actually look into your eyes rather than looking at the bits that we've all got those bits we don't like. Rather than focusing on those, just look into your eyes, talk to yourself, just think, I'm really proud of where you've come, how far you've come so far. I'm really proud of you. Find 3 things that you've done that are good. You got out of bed, you got showered, whatever it might be. You may have phoned somebody who needed some help. Whatever it might be, just start to connect with yourself again, because that is going to help to further bolster how you feel about yourself. And that also has a direct impact on your adrenal health, because if you're not happy about just yourself, you're not your friend, that is one heck of a stress on your adrenal glands. Your adrenal glands are affected by everything: the food you eat, the drink that you drink, your thoughts, the stress around you in your environment, the economy, the politics, if you allow that stuff to affect you, the heavy metals, the air that we breathe, the water that you might get out of your tap or however you drink your water. Yet our bodies are under constant bombardment. So while there are certain things we can control, there are other things that unfortunately we cannot control. But one thing we can do is decide that we're going to support our adrenal health as much as we possibly can without it becoming a stress, because we want to minimize our stress. But by becoming your own best friend and looking after yourself like you would your own child, you wouldn't feed your child a load of poison. You wouldn't be mean to your child and say horrible things to your child. Then you can start to notice an improvement in your symptoms. And just going back to that sort of education, if you have daughters or grandchildren, and if they're, I'm a real doer, and I've been brought up by real doers. And I find it really hard to rest and relax. I do. Relaxation for me is the workout. Relaxation for me is turning over the garden and making it look better. And I love gardening. I'm not a good one to just sit and do nothing. Maybe that's something I should work on. However, I'm pretty healthy. I feel pretty good. My menopause symptoms aren't too bad. So I think whatever I'm doing is working well for me. And again, this is when you have to work out what works for you, because meditation for me, I'm sure if I really practiced it, I'd get better at it. But I just find it frustrating. And if I'm finding it frustrating, well, it's not relaxing me. And I think there are other ways of achieving that sense of balance, rather than thinking I need to sit and meditate successfully for 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 5 minutes every single day. So do what works best for you. There's always people out there that say you should do this and you ought to be doing that and you need to do that. It's just like, work out what suits you best. Ignore the clutter and the chaos and the confusion. Just find what works best for you. It might be journaling, it might be affirming, it might be gratitude, it could just be time out in nature. So you have to find what works best for you, so that you can support your adrenals going forward. And if your daughter or your granddaughter you've noticed that they've not done anything, because this is what I battle with. They've not done anything for an hour. They're just sat doing nothing. Maybe that's what they need to do. Maybe they need that time. And it's all balance. Okay, if they're in front of the television for 6 hours on the couch and they've done bugger all, get them up, because they need to move. But I think it's really important that we're aware of making sure that our younger women are growing up with an understanding that it's really important that they take good care of themselves and that they manage their stress effectively, so that when they get to those menopausal years, they're in a really great position to actually manage them, hopefully either symptom-free or with relatively small symptoms. And during perimenopause, the ovaries slow down the production of our sex hormones. And once we've either laid our last egg, we have around about 400 each, or we've had surgical menopause, we no longer have that ability to reproduce. But also it means that the body doesn't need that level of hormones that we used to have, because we're not going to be carrying a baby any longer. Early symptoms of perimenopause, I mean, there's lots, but insomnia, hair loss, skin drying, vaginal dryness, sore joints, hot flashes, irritability, anxiety. There's a myriad different symptoms. Now, this is where the adrenal glands come into play, because with healthy adrenal glands, then they are designed to back up the job of the ovaries. So when the ovaries are no longer pumping out the sex hormones, the adrenal glands technically should do. So if your adrenal health is off, like it is for so many of us, that is why a large amount of women are struggling with these awful menopausal symptoms. It is significant how much of an impact adrenal health has on how you show up through the menopause. Now, I think it's also important to mention, like low mood, anxiety, depression that you might be feeling through the menopause. Again, there's a lot of studies that are pointing to the fact that antidepressants do not help menopausal low mood, so depression associated with menopause. And antidepressants are given to a lot of people, specifically also for sleep disorders, but they have side effects. And if you can do it naturally, I highly recommend that you do. And by bringing this awareness to your adrenal health, it just underpins the whole menopausal situation. If your adrenals are good, your symptoms are going to be less. You're not going to need these things. But the antidepressant thing, I did a deep dive on mental health. I will link to that at the end of this and put it in the description box below as well. The reason they are not effective for menopause related low mood is because the symptoms stem from hormonal imbalances rather than traditional depression. On top of that, a lot of women approach me because of the weight gain associated with menopause, particularly around the belly. When you see somebody with thinner legs and a bigger belly, it's known as cortisol belly. There is a reason for that, particularly women and also men in actual fact. It is the same thing, but just for women right now, as your estrogen levels fall, cortisol levels do rise. Cortisol is one of our stress hormones created by the adrenal glands. So we're always fighting that rise in cortisol. And as cortisol rises, so does our insulin, which is our fat storing hormone. So there is a tendency for a lot of women to add weight around or to develop weight around their midriff during menopause and beyond. You don't have to stick with it. Again, if you're doing the things I'm about to suggest, you will find that your belly fat will go down. If you are eating clean, if you're not exercising too much, if your sleep is good, but you're still under high amounts of stress, you're going to really struggle to get your belly fat down. It's as simple as that. It is cortisol, stress is huge as far as impacting not just your belly fat, but your menopause symptoms in general. So practical steps to help you support your adrenal glands, obviously stress management, and however that works best for you. Find what works best for you and stick to a plan. Have like maybe a little oasis every single day where you allow yourself 5, 10, 15 minutes longer if you're able to. It might be an Epsom salt bath at the end of the day with some essential oils in it. That's really great because it contains magnesium too. And we're also, a lot of us, particularly if you eat healthy, you tend to be quite lacking in salt. I have to make sure I eat enough salt throughout the course of the day. Salt, again, if you haven't got the right amount of mineral balance in your bodies, and salt's really, really crucial, you're going to be stressing your adrenal glands. So we need around about a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half of good quality salt. So if you do cook all your food from home, make sure that you are actually getting enough salt. Sometimes I add a few bits of Himalayan rock salt into my water. I often add it into my muscle recovery drink after I've done my workout. So just make sure that you are getting enough salt. But like I say, if you have an Epsom salt bath, that's going to provide you with magnesium, which you'll absorb through the skin, and also some salts as well. And if you're under a lot of stress, this is one of the tips or strategies that I give to my anxiety clients, is if you're finding your day is just ruminating around one particular thing, or like a category of things that are all interrelated, I call it the battle plan. Develop a battle plan, which is a framework, it's a routine, which is going to give you structure to your day. Obviously, there's going to be some wiggle room and flexibility in that, but it gives you structure to your day so that when you're feeling absolutely overwhelmed, you can think, right, okay, what's my battle plan? Okay, 9 till 10, oh, I'm doing my workout and having my shower. And 10 till 10:30, okay, that is my time when I'm going to sit and journal, or I'm going to just reflect, or do some visualization, or I'm getting out into nature, I'm going to stand barefoot on the ground. And then 11 till 11:15, that's when I'm allowed to ruminate about the things that have been going round and round and round and round in my head for the last few years that I still not resolved, and they're still there, and they still cause me a great amount of anxiety. Because when you're ruminating, you've got these things going on in your head, they're just taking all your energy up. If you allow yourself a small window of time, and I don't recommend any more than 15 minutes a day, when you're allowed to think, right, here we go, rumination time, and you can actually really dive into those things that are causing you that problem, but really look at them, because most of us are trying to distract ourselves from them, and we have this low grade rumination that goes on all day, and we find we procrastinate, we don't commit to anything because we've got this low grade rumination happening all the time. Really get into it, get into the thick of it, think, right, roll your sleeves up and dive into that cesspit of bloody rumination for 10-15 minutes. And really explore, what exactly is it that you're afraid of? What is the anxiety? What is the worst thing that could happen? What is your worst what if? And what is your best what if? and really dive into it. And you'll find that with time, you're going to be thinking, I actually don't need to do that 10 or 15 minutes of rumination, because you've allowed yourself to dive into it and really explore what's holding you back, and it will give you the answers. You might not get the answers straight away, but you will develop the answers. And by having that focused time of the crappy stuff, you're freeing up your energy for the more positive stuff throughout the course of the rest of the day. So have your battle plan, however that, again, how it suits you. You might need a battle plan for the beginning of your day and the end of the day. And the middle bit, you know, if you go to work or whatever you're doing, you know, that might just follow a normal strategy in any case. It doesn't need to become super complicated. But do have some kind of battle plan that supports your daily routine, and most importantly, support your daily routine to support your adrenal health, your mental health, so that you're managing your stress effectively. Obviously, nutrition and lifestyle is a major factor. If you have a job that you hate, as much as it might be giving you that security for your financial security, hopefully, if it's not, or if you absolutely hate it and you're paying that price with your stress levels, highly recommend looking for something different. Of course, eating healthily, using food as fuel for a human body. And I know I talk about this every single time, but it is so true. If you're filling your body with chemicals, you're stressing your adrenals, you are not doing yourself any favors at all. That now is the time to think, okay, I'm just going to stop poisoning my body with all the chemicals that you don't need. If you're thinking you don't have time to cook your own, you don't have time for meal prep, you just don't know, watch a few YouTube channels. Instead of watching Netflix, watch recipe shows, watch cooking shows. It's amazing what you can pick up so easily, or just follow a recipe. Just become, you know, start adding maybe one meal a week that you get better at, and then introduce a second meal a week that you get better at. So over the course of like 5-6 weeks, you've got nearly a whole week's worth of meals. And to be honest, I mean, we all pretty much rotate between 5, 6 or 7 favorite meals a week, you know, over a month in any case. And just show a bit of willing to improve the food that you're eating, because when you prepare it at home, you know there's nothing wrong that's gone in it. You know you're not sticking a mass of sugar in it. It's not got the preservatives, the chemicals, the flavor enhancers in it. And if you can get into meal prepping, you will save yourself time, waste, and money massively. Yes, it's a bit boring. I find it a bit dull too, but I feel really great when I've done it, and it saves so much time. So if I'm really busy, I can go to my fridge. It's oh, there's a salad mason jar. That's what I'm going to have. That is really brilliant. It's tasty. It's delicious. I love it. Or whatever. It might be a big bowl of soup. Just batch prepare your food, and it's having a willingness to start, but it will serve you so well. Same with, you know, what are you drinking? If you're drinking a lot of sodas, stop. If you don't like water, just try, you need to find something that you do like. So it might be water with lemon juice, or water with lime juice, or maybe water with herbs and spices. It could be, you know, health. It could be mushroom teas. It could be herbal teas. It might be herbal coffees. It might just be a nice, good quality cup of coffee, a nice, good quality cup of tea. It could be raw organic cacao, because that is fabulous. That is literally bursting with antioxidants. It's a bit more pricey at the moment because of climate change is affecting the cocoa harvest, but that is delicious. You can have Marmite in hot water, or Bovril in hot water if you like that. There's all sorts of different drinks that you can have. So become a bit creative about it. And rather than saying, well, I don't like those, so I'm just going to keep drinking all this rubbish, what's the long-term cost to you? Because also that rubbish, the sodas particularly, they contain high fructose corn syrup. That's just leaching the calcium out of your body. You're peeing it out, which is really negatively impacting your bone health, your joint health. So just be mindful of what you're eating and drinking. I've gone over your thoughts in quite a lot of detail as well. So make sure that you are doing that eye contact in the mirror. You don't have to look at your face, just look at your eyes. Be proud of yourself. 3 things that you're proud of every single day. Gut health is massive. The gut is where we metabolize our hormones. It's a large amount of our immune system is around the gut. If you have not got good gut health, you may have leaky gut, which is allowing bacteria from your gut through into the bloodstream, which then can trigger your immune system, which can cause autoimmune disorders. In low-grade inflammation is associated with all sorts of very serious diseases. So gut health, again, there's a lot of research on this. I think gut health is absolutely fascinating, because a lot of our happy hormones get created in the gut, not the brain. And when you can make sure that you're eating a wide range of healthy probiotics, so the healthy bacteria, keeping your sugar low, keeping your alcohol low, because those have a negative impact on your gut flora. Make sure you're eating a wide range of prebiotics, so that's like fruits, vegetables, not only for the vitamins and minerals that you get, but also the fiber, which acts as the prebiotic, which feeds the probiotics. That is really, really important. But also there's more and more research saying that you also need to incorporate fermented foods to have sort of really good gut health. So just eating fiber and a wide range of probiotics is not enough. So you do need to be looking at your fermented foods too, like your kefir, your sauerkraut, your kombucha, your kimchi, that sort of thing. And I'm not a great fan of kimchi or sauerkraut, but I do use it and I add it to my meals. So like if I'm doing something with, I don't really like mincemeat much either. So I've created some quite spectacular mincemeat recipes that are really flavoursome. I often add kimchi into that and it really brings it alive, bursting with flavour. I use lots of herbs and spices and vegetables in it as well. And it really does pop. It's absolutely delicious. And so, you know, if you don't like those flavours, just start adding them into other foods, so that they're sort of hidden, but the fact that because they're fermented foods and they've got that salty vinegary flavour, they really do make the flavours of your other ingredients pop. So I would get good at fermented foods as well. And finally, adaptogen herbs. I take a mix of 8 every single day. And also the adaptogen herbs mix that I take contains fibre, protein, prebiotics, probiotics, and digestive enzymes. So it is a really good support for, I think, my menopausal symptoms. But I mean, there's loads of different adaptogenic herbs out there. The ones that I take, because everybody asks me if I can remember them all correctly: chaga, maca, reishi, schisandra, astragalus, mate, cordyceps, and ashwagandha. Adaptogenic herbs help the body actually regulate cortisol. So if you've got too much cortisol, it can bring it down. And if you've got not enough cortisol, in the case of adrenal fatigue, your body's actually struggling to pump out the amount of cortisol it needs to. It helps to bring up that cortisol level. They also help to reduce inflammation in the body. They boost your immune system. They give you energy. And I just swear by them. So there's all sorts of different ones out there. I think it's important that you take a look at them and make a sort of decision as to which ones you want to take, if indeed you want to take any. If you're on any medications, I would just cross-reference with your doctor to make sure there's nothing that might affect the medications that you're taking. So I hope that's been helpful for you. It's just really important that you understand that if your adrenal health is good, it's going to vastly improve your menopause symptoms. If you've got daughters, nieces, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, make sure that they are understanding the importance of stress management, so that when they get to their menopausal years, they can come through it pretty much unscathed as well. So with that, thank you so much for your company, and I hope you found this helpful, and I look forward to chatting with you next week.